Kid for the brand new, reigning, defending, undisputed WWE Heavyweight Champion of the World.
What a night. WrestleMania has come and gone. Ladies and gentlemen, welcome to episode number 2. We are from the Rafters. We are here tonight post WrestleMania. Such a great matches. So many good memories coming out of these matches. Let's start it off. We have a couple extra friends with us today. As you guys know, I'm Kevin. We're going to start off here. We have a couple extra friends with us today.
I'm Yumi.
Hinsha.
Chicken.
Beats.
Trinity.
And of course, your favorite second co-host, Curtis, aka Space Mountain.
Now, Space Mountain, I told you on Friday when we did our first episode, I told you all weekend long, every time I could, I would tell you.
Yap.
The future
The future is here. Yeah.
Starts at WrestleMania. And the future is Seth Rollins.
Mm-hmm.
And I told you all weekend long, Seth Rollins would come out of WrestleMania as your champion, and he did. And I know you're pissed.
Sure.
I know you're upset. But the future is bright, sir.
I was quite upset.
The future is bright with Seth Rollins. I think we can all say tonight's WrestleMania was probably one of the better ones we've seen.
What's for how long? It's probably the last 5 WrestleManias. It's been a while since I've seen a really good WrestleMania. We'll talk about that later.
We'll run down the card in a little bit. Just real quickly, just thoughts, you guys' thoughts and opinions, and what worked, what didn't work, what did you like, what didn't you like. Again, we'll run down the card again throughout the night, but it was a lot to take in today. A lot of great matches tonight. Personally, Intercontinental Championship, we're watching it now. It lived up the hype. I think it was probably one of the top matches of the night. Of course, I'm going to keep the World Heavyweight Championship as the number one for a reason. But I just think everybody put everything on the line. They risked it on. Clearly, Dean Ambrose, as we see him, probably about to take the worst powerbomb I've ever seen. They all put up their worst powerbomb ever. They all put it on the line. And I think that's what WrestleMania is all about. That's what you do at a WrestleMania is you leave your body on the line for whatever it takes to put on the show. Yeah, you guys' thoughts? Anything you guys want to say?
Yeah, let's actually go ahead and get into the matches. Let's see. Let's go over that.
Okay. Our first match tonight was the tag team title matches. We had Cesaro and Tyson Kidd retain. I thought it was a solid match. Some good spots with all the teams involved. Some good moves here and there. I thought it was a solid match.
I want to know who you guys had winning and why.
Anybody can talk here, guys. You're here for a reason.
Okay, I definitely wanted the Usos to win, but obviously we were screwed out of that. I figured they were gonna win. I mean, they're in their hometown. Their dad just went to the Hall of Fame. I figured this is where they get their belts back, and WWE loves to go ahead and put the belt back during a pre-show so they can get the crowd hyped up.
I just think that Cesaro and Kidd have too much going for them right now. They just couldn't go ahead and lose it at this point in time.
Yeah, I mean, I'm not saying they're a bad team or anything like that.
I think we're just going to get tired of seeing the Usos win all the time.
Yeah.
I mean, I think the fact that, we have something new, something fresh is probably what we've been looking for from the tag team title for a bit.
Yeah.
I wonder what's going to be in the future for them, though. What can they do next?
Well, it's definitely now time we're coming into with Raw tomorrow night, and who's coming up? We have Lucha Dragons. We're killing it in NXT recently. They're definitely set to come up anytime soon now. I think the tag team division goes up from here. I guarantee you there's going to be tons and tons of competition coming at Cesaro and Kidd. It's just a matter of what are they going to do next to kind of solidify themselves as the top tag team. There's a lot there that they can keep going on and keep doing.
I think a top tag team also is the Ascension. They're slowly rising up there. I think that's another up-and-coming tag team.
You guys can't see it, but I think I smell a Rana coming.
We're good. Everyone's entitled to their opinion. Whether it's a bad opinion, it's on you. I'm gonna leave it at that.
A bit of a tangent, though. I'm curious, right? So we've seen the Usos as a tag team, independent careers. Thoughts that they'll ever try and compete for anything outside of the tag team championship?
I personally don't see it. I think it's one of those we're brothers, we're in this together kind of deal. Now, granted, the injury to I think it was Jey Uso with the shoulder injury that's been bothering for a while, kind of makes you wonder where they're gonna go with that, because it's used to have Jey, who's still doing pretty good, whichever one the other twin is, if I can get them confused. It's curious to see where they go with it. I think personally they probably try to stick them as a team. Unless they become like the Hardys, where Matt and Jeff can do their own thing and hopefully not be forgotten. But
I think they're going to keep the Usos as a classic tag team. I think they're going to be that one tag team that just sticks together for a long time. I think they're going to be the ones that they build the tag team division around, and that's where it's going to start from. Is from the Usos. So I say keep them together. I'd rather see them together than apart anyway. What's the next match?
we had the Andre the Giant Memorial Battle Royal, and we had the Big Show go over and win the match by eliminating Mizdow at the end. Now I think we can all agree the best part of that match was Mizdow eliminating The Miz, kind of cutting that tie.
The best part of that match was Curtis Axel in the middle of the ring, cutting a promo, ripping his shirt off before he gets body surfed outside the ring.
There's a reason that Axelmania is finally dead, and I'm tired of seeing it. I thought it was funny when it first started. It got annoying with the 59 days, whatever the hell he was at. I'm glad that that's all done with. Let's move on. If you want to use him for something, use him for something.
Anyone surprised that we didn't see a return of Sheamus?
That was surprising.
You know, there've been talks for the months leading into it, even with all the vignettes that have been airing, that we're seeing Sheamus soon, and then we don't see it. It's possible that we see him tomorrow night. Raw's a big place for a lot of returns and a lot of surprises. So I won't be too surprised to see him tomorrow. But yes, I thought he would have shown up at some point tonight.
Did you think anything of Miz and Mizdow teaming up to eliminate Alex Riley?
It's a little bit of that what do you call that? You know, it's the old protege eliminating the new protege kind of deal. It's Alex Riley used to be the guy for The Miz. I'm glad to see Alex Riley wasn't part of the match. I'm glad seeing them back wrestling, but I think, you know, it's pretty funny seeing that happen. I'm glad the Miz though actually just ended up dumping Miz altogether. That was my big takeaway from tonight.
I love how we finally saw the semi-return of Bo Dallas, and he looked like he was kicking Zack Ryder off the apron or something like that, and someone had dumped him over the ropes, and he had pretty much just did a victory lap around the ring. I thought that was awesome.
It's true Bo Dallas style. I think it was.
I believe, who was it? Hideo eliminated Bo, I think.
I believe so, yes.
Yeah.
Any thoughts, guys? You guys are really quiet here.
I think we all thought Ryback was going to be the one who won that Battle Royal.
Definitely. Going into it, you've been seeing the hype on Raw. You've been seeing it on SmackDown, seeing him getting put over on these matches. So it was only a matter of, was he or was he not? I mean, I thought he would have won it. I thought he would have taken it. I'm glad to see the Big Show take it. It's been a long time since, he's won anything kind of big, I guess you can say. All the comparisons to him have started getting there, and it's about time he finally says, "Yeah, I won the Andre the Giant Memorial Battle Royal."
But does that really mean anything though? I mean, when we think about it last year, right? Cesaro wins it and kind of takes a bit of a weird tangent in terms of his career approach, kind of repackaging him a bit. I mean, what's okay? So you win it; it's an achievement, but what exactly does what does this build? What does this kind of help to improve, progress? And yeah, you're making comparisons to Andre the Giant, but what else?
I think that's the biggest question overall is yeah, you have this Memorial Battle Royal. What do you do with the winner? Like you're sitting there and it's become okay, yeah, hey, you won the Memorial. Last year we saw Cesaro kind of stale out and kind of just dry up at the end. For a month there was no idea what you can use him for. It remains to be seen what they have planned for the Andre the Giant Memorial Battle Royal winner. I think you gotta start moving in terms of hey, we have to make this mean something in terms of titles, in terms of what strap they should go for, automatic number one contendership kind of deal. Whether it's for the IC title, whether it's for the U.S. title, I think that's something that they have to go in moving forward in order to give it some kind of credibility. Otherwise, it's just, hey, we're in a battle royal. Congratulations, you're having your WrestleMania moment. Move on.
Or just to prove that someone's strong, quote unquote. About it.
Exactly.
Yeah, you had to get someone to live up to the name Andre the Giant. Just.
That brings us on to the main show, which started off with the Intercontinental title ladder match, which was, again, it set out to set the pace, and it did a great job starting off the show. I think I can say it did not steal the show. I think it was a good match. I love how the show ended tonight. I'm sorry, the WWE Heavyweight Championship match is still going to be my number one match for tonight. But I think the guys, like I said earlier, they went out there, they proved themselves, they put everything on the line, and they did an amazing job in the match. Some great spots by all of them. I think Ambrose coming off the ladder on the outside was true Ambrose fashion in terms of just like the Bray Wyatt match, which was also another great match for them. Glad to see Daniel Bryan get the win. I think it's good for him, and the fans like it. Kind of set the tone off in the right way.
How about Stardust's costume coming out? He looked like some sort of Jurassic Park bird coming out there. I thought that was pretty neat. He had different colors on than he normally does.
That glitter ladder.
I was just going to say that bedazzled ladder when he whipped that out. That was pretty neat.
Would have been nice if we would have gotten to use it, but they broke it, so whatever.
You got beat with it.
Got beat with it pretty badly. Barrett
You know,
just went to town with him.
Yeah, and then all the jewels fell off of it. What a job.
Ziggler. I think we saw Ziggler run up that ladder about 10 times. I don't know how many times I thought he was really going to get it, but they kept teasing us with that. But I see a future with Ziggler and Daniel Bryan. They're going to have a nice summer, I think.
I think that's going to be your next big feud for that title. I think Barrett gets his rematch tomorrow night, but I think moving forward, that's got to be Ziggler and Bryan elevating that title and kind of saying, look, this is what we can do as champion. This is what we can put on a match for. And I think that's really the best route to go forward. I mean, don't get me wrong. I think Barrett and Bryan would put on a hell of a match. But these guys have wanted it. I think SummerSlam culminates with Daniel Bryan versus Dolph Ziggler in the match that fans want to see.
Well, yeah, so interesting point, right? A match fans want to see. You have two pretty big fan favorites, right? Ziggler, someone who I think everyone at this table feels hasn't been given their fair share of, respect and opportunities to really kind of be, a true either contender for something more than just, this title. But I'm curious as to, do you ever put him in a point where you essentially send Daniel Bryan in a losing place, right? Did you make him lose to put Ziggler over? In terms of fan reaction, I mean, imagine Ziggler taking the belt from Daniel Bryan.
I think that regardless of who you put over in that match, both these guys are going to go over really easily. It's not a matter of the winner is going to be the over. I think it's a matter of both of these guys are fan favorites. The fans absolutely love these guys. Who really is whoever comes on top, yeah, you get the title, but I think even whoever loses, you're still over in the fans' eyes. Be it Daniel Bryan, be it Dolph Ziggler. I think going into this, all fans, I think that was the clear-cut choice. Will it be Dolph? Will it be Daniel? I don't see this in any way, shape, or form becoming a bad thing in terms of the two guys head-to-head, in terms of how they're seen in terms of the audience and the fans. Either way, both guys are extremely hot. Both guys are going to go over, and it's going to be great to see.
How wild was it to see all the fans pop over there when they were both on the ladder and they were having that headbutt contest to reach for the title? I didn't know who was gonna get it. But when Daniel finally got it, I wasn't upset.
Yeah, and like I said, it's a match that definitely had fans happy at the end. You know, it's I feel like it's one of the right ways to go. It's better than having, personally, I think it's better than having somebody like Stardust or Luke Harper take that win. So I think it's only up from here with the IC title.
Yeah, we're definitely gonna see a bunch of jeans in the future, huh?
Speaking of genes, so at this point, there's no update as to what Dean Ambrose's status is. Nothing, I mean, from what I've read so far, doesn't seem like there's anything too serious. However, that leaves me with two questions. Obviously, his current health status, but the other being that we have a person who's obviously, well, I mean, my personal favorite as well as a fan favorite. But correct me if I'm wrong, he's only had the U.S. title, right? We have a guy who's, I wouldn't say consistently losing, but you don't see him, you know, you see him in a lot of opportunities, you see him in a lot of big matches. He gets a lot of, you know, time in front of the camera.
Mm-hmm.
But you only see him with one kind of title win, right? So do you think this is kind of his place? Is this what he does? He's the lunatic fringe, he's crazy, he comes out randomly, you know, causes chaos, and that's just going to be his role forever? Or how do they mold him? How do they kind of take him to that next step? Or does he even need that? Or doesn't he want that?
I think that at some point or another, Dean will get that. Dean's gonna. There's the future's bright for Dean. It's not a matter of when or how. It's a matter of when. He's guaranteed. I can tell you for sure. Dean is one of those guys that he will always be the lunatic fringe. He will always go on, you know, putting guys over. But at the same time, he will get what he needs to get. In terms of belts, in terms of being, you know, he's already over with the fans. It's no doubt about that. I think that 6 months, 7 months, you'll see him finally win that championship. If not sooner than that, it all depends on where they go with Daniel Bryan and who he matches up with next. I wouldn't be surprised, again, if it wasn't Dolph Ziggler, it'd probably be Dean Ambrose. So it's a matter of who they choose to go with it. I think in the long run, we will see Dean for quite a while. Dean will end up winning that title finally. Just a matter of when.
Yeah, definitely worthy of an IC champion, no problem. And I think he held the tag team championships when he was in the Shield.
No.
They just didn't recognize that?
No, Shield was only Rollins and
Reigns.
Rollins and Reigns were the tag champions. Dean Ambrose had the U.S. title for, I think he had the longest reign in quite a while. So he had definitely that under his belt. The next match we're going to talk about will be the Seth Rollins Randy Orton match. We saw Randy Orton win this one with an unbelievable RKO. Definitely the move of the night. Good match. This was the future match.
I'm going to need you to hold your horses by that move of the night. We got a couple more matches to go, so we'll talk about that move of the night again. How about that?
I mean,
No. This was better than when he RKO'd the internet. This was
Whoa.
the greatest RKO of all time.
I mean, we're watching the replay now, and I guarantee you, if Seth Rollins hits that little corkscrew dive, guaranteed it's the move of the night. But look, we get to see it right now. Look at that, set him up. Come on, how can you say that is not the move of the night? He uses his shoulder, or the shoulder, the neck, the back. I don't know what part of the freaking body that is, to elevate him higher than where he already is, going for that curb slam, and hits him with the RKO from that. How can you tell me that's not the move of the night?
You forget he just looks up at him and then just.
It was all one swoop.
Yeah.
It was one fluid motion for him.
I think by far it was executed perfectly.
It's the move of the night. I'm sorry, but this takes it. What else can you say is better? You're talking about the US title match. We'll get to that, but this is by far the best move I saw all night.
Serves another purpose too, if you really think about it, right? From the overall story arc, right? Tonight we're talking about the future. The future is now, right? So we have these two. I would say you have these two somewhat redemption stories coming out of this matchup. So you have Randy Orton, a guy who's been kind of missing in the main kind of eye, right, for a few months. You get him this big move. You get him a good victory over, obviously, someone who's a very solid contender, someone we're talking about potentially at this point in time being the heavyweight champion. And then you have someone who loses and is put in a position where look, so if Seth would have won this match, and you can't really plausibly think he would be able to come out and do what he did for the second one, right? I still don't see it. Beating Randy Orton and then beating everyone in that same type of setup.
That makes him even bigger because it's pulling off 2 wins in one night.
Still, it seems too ideal. It seems too perfect. See, I prefer it more of, look, this guy lost, still drive, determination. He is the best because he came out and still did that even though he lost today. Apples to oranges, maybe it doesn't make it, maybe you disagree, but I still think the loss to Randy is necessary more for Randy than it is for Seth.
Oh, guaranteed.
Yeah.
It gives Randy that hey, you're not out of this kind of deal. Because let's remember, I think if Randy Orton loses this match, it becomes now, well, this is Randy Orton. He's forgotten now. It's all about the future, and it's all about Seth Rollins moving up. And I think with Randy Orton picking up this win, it now becomes, well, Randy Orton's still the Viper. He's still the future of this company. And we said it on, I think Kurt said it on Friday. We see this becoming a heavyweight championship at one point down the road. And now with the end of WrestleMania tonight and Rollins taking that belt, this could very easily be a title match in 6 months, in a year from now. So it's definitely a lot of potential, and we see it we'll see it in the future again. This is not this is not the end of Seth Rollins versus Randy Orton for sure. Thoughts, guys? Opinions?
Shout out to J&J Security.
Taking good bumps today.
Yeah.
So you think why Randy actually beating Seth Rollins that actually catapults him, or actually keeps him in the picture of the world heavyweight hunt?
Because I mean you've pinned the Money in the Bank winner who just cashed in. You pick up a win. I mean it's how the IC title match kind of came into play. All these guys pinned Wade Barrett. Hey, I pinned the champion. I deserve to be in there at some point. Now, granted, he wasn't the champion when he got pinned, but it's in the same night. I think this keeps Randy Orton kind of relevant in terms of the heavyweight title, and it keeps kind of, hey, remember I got you at WrestleMania, kind of deal. So it's definitely I don't think we'll see the end of Randy Orton anytime soon in terms of the title. And let's not forget, Randy Orton still has to have his rematch. He never got his rematch against Daniel Bryan from last WrestleMania, so hopefully people haven't forgotten that. And if you did, I just reminded you, so you're welcome. But yeah, I mean, we'll see what happens in the next couple of months. It's still, I mean, literally hours ago, this all just ended. So we have a lot to wait to go.
I wonder how Seth feels after taking that bump when he did that moonsault to Randy Orton on the outside and his back slammed up against the announce table.
I definitely still think Randy Orton had the worst bump last year with that TV monitor on his back. A lot worse than that bump that Rollins took. But that was last year. Alright, moving on from that, we have Sting versus Triple H.
Waiting for a long time for this.
14 years in the making. Definitely, I think one of the cooler matches we saw tonight. I think a lot of people went into it just anticipating this is finally Triple H versus Sting. Finally, we get to see this match. The two icons, let's be honest, of their companies, of WCW and WWE. And I was a little surprised that they did make it into WCW versus WWE, and they made it into D-Generation X versus the NWO. We all remember, or at least I know I remember, seeing D-Generation X on the little tank truck driving down to Norfolk when WCW was in town, knocking at the arena doors trying to get there. So I think it's come full circle now with this tonight, and finally seeing NWO in one corner, DX in the other corner, and the two main guys, two biggest names in both stables, I guess, going at it, which was really cool. Triple H, of course, with the win tonight, Sledgehammer helping him out with that, but definitely a good match. They're both old guys. I think we can see their age and how they were wrestling and how they were kind of acting the whole time, but I feel like it's still a pretty good match. Definitely worth watching.
How about those entrances, huh? I thought those were pretty neat.
So Yumi over here doesn't like it. I thought Triple H's entrance was pretty good. Not the best one, but I still thought it was one of his.
Last year's was better.
Okay,
Last year's is better.
I agree. I think last year is probably the best one of all time. Possibly comparing that one to the John Cena match where he breaks. He's sitting in his throne as well. So I mean, there's still pretty good entrances. I think that's what WrestleMania is all about. Is the entrances. It's, you hear Michael Cole say it. It's the pageantry. It's the spectacle. That is WrestleMania. I thought it was a good entrance. I really liked what he was. Yeah, it's all commercialized with the Terminator movie and Terminator being the biggest sponsor of this movie or this pay-per-view, excuse me. That's why Arnold Schwarzenegger made it into Hall of Fame. The only reason why he's in the Hall of Fame this year, in my opinion. But I mean, it was a good entrance. I thought it was pretty cool.
I see. We saw some surprise appearances, and that was from DX and the NWO.
Yeah, these guys are they're really old. Really old. But it was, like I said, it was great to see the two factions, the two stables kind of button heads again. It's the two groups that really transformed what the WWE and what wrestling is. Let's be honest, the G-Generation X and the Attitude Era was the guys to follow, and the NWO was the clique to be a part of when you were watching this stuff. So it was definitely cool to see them both here. I thought it was a great little thing to see.
Did you expect to see Shawn Michaels at all? I know I didn't.
No, Shawn Michaels was a complete surprise for me.
Where did he even come from?
Yeah, that was one of those, hey, I'm gonna hide over here for a little bit and then just randomly come out. But I think seeing him was a good thing as well. I mean, he is part of D-Generation X. It wouldn't be DX without Shawn Michaels. So it's great to see.
At the end of the day, we saw the sledgehammer versus the baseball bat.
And apparently the baseball bat killed the sledgehammer, which was kind of surprising and to see and all that. But it was good. It was good in the long run. Again, guys, do you guys want to say anything at all?
I mean, by having what they did in that match with the experiences, I believe that actually finally closes anything about the Monday Night Wars. You actually see the factions go at it against one another.
Definitely. Yeah, it's. I think I agree with you.
I'm more interested in terms of, again, concept, right? The whole theme is the future, right? So we have this thing. 14 years y'all have been waiting for this to happen. Sting shows up. We have this build up for a couple weeks and not months at this point. All right, now he's lost. What's his role? What does he do? Like, is this just fan service? Is this just, look, we want to build on this nostalgia? I mean, obviously it's a pivotal moment. It's a big moment. It's important. Maybe adds closure. But what does he add in terms of progressing plot lines? What does he add in terms of, maybe being a mentor or a coach for certain?
I mean, there's apparently a lot of stuff he's been doing backstage that we're not seeing. He's working with the talents backstage. He's helping them out and all that. I think programming wise, booking wise, I don't think we're gonna see him until probably next WrestleMania. In the match that everybody's been dying to see, I still say it's gonna be Undertaker versus Sting. Finally, another match that people have been dying and waiting to see. It's just a matter of come next WrestleMania season, how do we book it then? I don't see any kind of rematch at SummerSlam. I don't see him kind of having any other feuds with anybody else. I don't think it's worth it to have it with anybody else. I think you have to save up now Sting, let him do his backstage stuff, which he's been working on recently apparently, and just get him ready for Undertaker WrestleMania 32. It's in Taker's hometown of Dallas. He's gonna be home for that one. I see that being Undertaker's retirement match, his final match, his Hall of Fame match, and I very easily see Sting being in the Hall of Fame next year as well. Both guys kind of just one last match, both of us in the Hall of Fame kind of deal.
So what you're telling me, he's going to be 1 year kind of observing, dare I say, from the rafters? Shameless plug.
Horrible
Pun.
Horrible.
Someone boo this man.
Let's. Okay. Yes, he will be sitting there biding his time from the rafters, waiting. But I don't think anybody's gonna be too surprised. We're all kind of. I know I anticipate coming to this. All right, it's gonna be a one match. He has his match. We'll probably wait for see how Undertaker is. I'm not too surprised if we don't see him until next WrestleMania season. I just don't see him coming out of that for any reason.
So it'll be a year before we see that nice red Emperor coat being worn again.
That red coat.
Oh, that red coat. I'm still in awe of it.
It's an interesting design, definitely. You wanted to go on to some kind of spiel about the coat.
It wasn't me who brought it to my attention. I think it was a chicken.
Yeah, so it's pretty interesting the way they designed it. Like, I would say the tassels and the overall design. It just looks phenomenal. It pops out. It just shows, hey, I'm in WrestleMania, and I think they're trying to honor that spew with the coat, just saying, hey, this is my time.
I just thought it was a cool looking coat. I didn't really think about it too much. But okay,
Yeah, I didn't
that's cool.
analyze it like that.
I mean, if you look at the way they brought him in with the Japanese taiko drums, it's showing, hey, we're building up for someone amazing, and that's why they kept playing with the tempo. I mean, but that's just me.
You brought up the cufflinks.
Cufflinks.
I just thought the drummers were part of his intro music. I mean, you hear it there anyways. I'm just
All right.
maybe I don't see it too much into it. I apologize. Apparently I'm. Yeah, I don't. Sorry, I don't see it that
Maybe
much.
you're just not cultured.
Which is fine. Whatever. I don't give a fuck.
Moving on.
Moving on. I have nothing to come back with on that. What was after Sting? We have
It was the Divas match.
a Divas match. Paige and AJ versus. We are all in love of those 4 women that were out there today. Versus the Bella Twins. I think it was a decent match. I was expecting more time for the Divas. AJ and Paige, of course, got the win at the end of it. But I was looking forward to more time. Everybody's been talking about hashtag give Divas a chance, and I think it's great that they have the WrestleMania match and they get to have Paige, her first WrestleMania, gets to have a WrestleMania moment. I feel like there could have been not more done with it.
Still feels cookie cutter. Still feels kind of, I don't know, to give Divas a chance, right? I mean, how do you improve? How do you move forward? Because how do you change it? Because it still feels the same. We have the same four people kind of. We have this, so we have a large pool of divas, right? But our conversations have only been around these 4 for a couple of weeks now. I'm not sure what you do.
That's a question that creative has to ask themselves as well. What are we gonna do with these divas? NXT divas, of course, have been killing it within the past 2-3 months, even the last year. The diva division in NXT is beyond what the diva division at the main roster is. Will that continue when they get called up at some point? I hope so. God knows I want to see Sasha Banks with Charlotte, on Raw one day. And I can't wait for that to happen.
What do you attribute it to, though?
What's that?
What do you attribute it to? Do you attribute it to NXT having better plot lines, character development?
I think it's, and I hate to say this, it's how NXT has been run up until now.
I think it's all of the above.
It's all of the above. It's they have, I think at NXT, because you're learning to develop, they're allowing these guys and girls to decide their own plot lines and write their own storylines. It's whether or not they get the okay for it. They're the ones that are learning how a match is booked. They're the ones down there learning how to sell certain points, and I think it's the fact that they're letting them do that that's giving them the extra the advantage of, hey, we're kind of a better product right now, and that's kind of pushing them forward on that. Will that continue when they come up to the main roster? A lot of people have been worried because they say it's not going to happen. They're saying that once these divas come up, it's all downhill from there. So we'll just gotta wait and see what happens. I think once we have more variety in the divas in the main roster, we'll be able to see what they can really do, and they'll finally have their chance.
Do you have like a time frame of, when do you expect to see more divas on the roster?
I wouldn't be surprised if they did surprises tomorrow night. Everybody knows last year Paige came out of NXT and completely killed it on her first night. Took that divas title and kind of ran with it for a couple months while AJ was out. So I mean, it's just a matter of who and when. Like I said, in the next couple months we'll start seeing NXT people come up. It's just a matter of, again, who. But I wouldn't be surprised if tomorrow night we saw somebody from NXT.
Hinch, I think you wanted to say something.
Yeah, I was gonna ask you guys. When do you guys think Charlotte's gonna actually come up?
That's another question. I'll be honest with you. I wouldn't be surprised if tomorrow night we go into it and the first Diva segment we get is Charlotte interrupting Paige or interrupting Nikki Bella, trying to go for that title right away. We all know for Charlotte, her daddy Ric Flair is amazing. She's got everything her dad can do and a lot better. She is definitely one of the top stars of NXT right now. I actually wouldn't be surprised if we saw Sasha Banks before we saw Charlotte though.
Really? Why do you say that?
Charlotte is I'll be honest, is banking a lot of what her dad has done, and you know she's great on the mic, but I feel like Sasha Banks has really, even without the title, Sasha Banks has made a big jump in terms of her personality and her character leading up to her winning that title finally. I feel like Charlotte was something where she got the title and that's where it started taking off for Charlotte. You know, so I think that's one of the big things there with Sasha Banks just being a little bit more developed. I wouldn't be surprised to see both of them. But I'd probably put my money more on Sasha Banks over Charlotte.
Yeah, I think Charlotte's matches are very solid in NXT. I think that she's a power person, and I would love to see her first. But you know, I can't deny Sasha Banks' skills that she has. But we'll see. I don't know. Until tomorrow, hopefully.
So my question is, do you think you'll see the same thing with Charlotte and Sasha Banks, like what they did with Paige and Emma? You know, they called Emma up first and then Paige, and fortunately, Emma is good, and you know Paige, you know, she's working it.
We've yet to see what's going on with Emma. Emma got called up and then they had nothing for her right away. I think it's a matter of how do they utilize these women when they get called up. It's the biggest thing. You can bring Charlotte, but you can bring both of these girls up, and they're instant competition for AJ and Paige and Natty and the Bellas right away. I don't think we saw that with Emma. I think with Emma we saw the popularity get the best of her in NXT, blew her up, brought her up to the main roster, and then it was no kind of reaction to her. Again, you have to bring up these people that at the time where not many people on Raw watch NXT. It's sad to say, but it's true, and none of these guys know what these women can do down in NXT. So it's something where if they don't make the impression right from the start, you're not going to see that. You're not going to see them last very long. And their entire thing is just going to die. Their whole gimmick, their whole promo, whatever they got going for them at that time, it's going to die. So unless they decide and they make that great first impression, we probably won't see them for very long, which is sad to say.
Yeah, I have to agree with this on agreed. I think creative needs to change up a little more about the divas and how they bring them up. I think that like with Emma, he's completely right. It was brought up and then she was there for like I think 3-4 matches consecutively every single week, and then poof, gone. And then she decided just to go ahead and be a filler. And I think that they need to give more time to divas matches going forward more. Bring them up. So.
But do you think that doesn't just only pertain to divas? I mean, another good example would be Adam Rose and Bo Dallas. Where are they now?
Exactly. I think it's something that goes on everybody. It doesn't just fall on the divas itself. It falls on anybody that's in NXT when they come up. These guys can get brought up and you can see all the vignettes and you can see everything that they're doing. But so what? It's yeah, we saw the Rose Party Express kind of videos when he first came up, and then what happened? It turned into a bunch of nothing.
Yep.
So I think it's more than just what we see when they first get here. They have to be able to be the ones to make the impression when they get here. So I think with girls like Charlotte and Sasha Banks, it all depends on the impression. And even looking there, if you got Sami Zayn, you got Kevin Owens, you have Adrian Neville, you have all these guys in NXT that are making great. That they know what they're doing. Kevin Owens, Finn Balor, they're making money off of their merchandise, which is unprecedented at NXT. When they get here, though, what are they gonna do? They have to make that first impression. And if it's something where they don't go out there and steal the show themselves, then you're kind of in the zone where now they're gone and they're bust. and it's gonna take something big for them to kind of get out of that hole. I think it was good seeing Hideo in the Battle Royal tonight. I thought they could have used him a lot better in there. I would have loved to have seen him use his go to sleep, but that didn't happen. Hopefully, we'll see more of him moving forward.
I think that the Ascension, for example, was pushed heavily when they first came on board, but now they're just, again, they step back, and what have they done in the past month? You know, I would have loved to see, somebody else in that Fatal 4-Way tag team, added in somewhere in that card, replacing a team. I don't exactly know which one, but at one point that would have been a heavy push for them to get to WrestleMania. Coming from NXT, I think that would have been a great push, but was not executed correctly in my point of view. That's my personal view. But
I think it was not executed properly, and then there's at the same time the promos they were cutting, just it rubbed people the wrong way. You're trashing guys like Demolition, you're trashing guys like Legion of Doom, you're trashing the APA, DX. You're doing all this to these guys that have paved the way for you. You know, you're rubbing the people the wrong way right away. And I think that's where they buried themselves in their promos. In NXT, I think they were great. They were great NXT champions, tag champions. But the second they started cutting promos and talking about destroying the tag team division before them, that's where they went downhill from there. Otherwise, I think they would have made a great addition to the tag team championship tonight.
Moving on to the next match.
Next one would be John Cena versus Rusev.
By the way, there was a move in here that does qualify for move of the night. Thank you very much. What did you say earlier, Hincha? I believe he gained a new move.
he did. He gained LB1.
LB1 new move. Yeah, we all know John Cena to have 5 moves. Everybody says it. We all see it all the time. It's a shoulder tackle. It's the little you can't see me punch. It's his his usual moves, the running bulldog, all that good stuff.
That's gonna be my next fantasy football team name, the 5 Moves of Doom.
I think it was a solid match. Glad to see Lana was back. I think we can all agree on that.
I think we were all good to see. I was super happy when I saw Lana walk out.
I think we should all tell everybody exactly what move we're actually referring to. Maybe
Yes.
some people may
So
not know.
the new move that we all talked about is what looked to be the springboard off the second rope into a stunner. At least that's what it looked like. It was a stunner.
I want to know who taught that man that move.
Sweet move. I thought it looked great. I still don't put that above the RKO that put out.
But I mean, for it being Cena of all people,
It's a great new move for Cena.
it's an awesome new
I
move
can
for Cena.
guarantee you we probably won't see it again.
We're gonna see it plenty of times.
We'll see about that. But I feel like it's just cool. He did that move. I think we're done talking about it like 5 minutes after that, if that. And the Seth Rollins move, I think it's still fresh in my mind, regardless of how long it's been. I think it's one of those jaw-dropping moves.
I don't know if you caught this, but when I think it was Rusev was coming out, I think JBL called him a fake champion. Did anyone catch that?
No, I saw him in a tank though.
No, he's
Yes.
just
Yes,
I
that was
think we can all agree that
That was
entrance
Entrance
of
of
the
the
night
Of the
Entrance
night.
of the night.
goes to
Rusev?
Rusev.
Because when you come out on the fucking tank, you kind of win.
Well, he didn't though.
Yeah, he did that.
Look, he won it inside. That's what counts.
No,
Well, he went outside the ring, coming to the ring.
One of the biggest things that we asked ourselves this earlier as well is, now what? You have Cena go over on Rusev and take the title from him. How do you use Rusev moving forward? Personally, I think like he's about to just become a nothing. I feel like it's a situation where okay, you've been undefeated up until now. You get to WrestleMania, you get that chance to get that moment, and they don't put you over and you lose. Where do you go from there? You've held the title for so long. You've been unstoppable, and then you're done. It's done and gone. So I'm curious to see where they go forward from this.
I have no idea what they plan on doing with him, but I honestly hope this is the end of this whole U.S. versus Russia plot that they've been trying to push for a while now. It's getting a little tiresome. I'm tired of every week there being a new representative for the U.S. Mark Henry, Big Show. Who else do we have? Jack Swagger, Cena, Biggie. I mean, honestly, it's tired. It's been overdone. Unfortunately for Rusev, the other side of it is there's really nothing else that he has that he offers that he contributes to just the overall universe outside of, hey, I'm the Russian bad guy, I'm the modern age Cold War enemy that, you know, we're two giant powers come head to head. We're both scared that we're going to destroy each other, and now one of them's lost, and that's it. You know, I honestly don't see anything coming out of this for him.
Actually, I would disagree.
Go
I would love to continue to see the Russian feud go on, and I think it turns a lot of heads. It creates a lot of attention, a lot of friction, which I think he lives and dies by.
Wait, friction for who, though?
I think at this point, then now you also got to look at, okay, yeah, that's all he has going for him. He's Russian.
Well, he's Bulgarian.
Well, representing to be from Russia.
That resides in Russia.
Resides in Russia, right. So what? Like, okay, yeah, you're from Russia. Hey, John Cena beat you already. Shut the fuck up.
Now, you know, I would, now granted, this is completely out there, and I know I've been wrong for many topics, but I would love to see him be tag teamed with somebody and have Lana be the manager, just like we're seeing a lot of tag teams having the girl being a manager there. That would be an awesome addition to it. But pairing up with who is the real question, you know, because they're definitely going to be a heel, that's for sure.
Well, he's kind of isolated himself to some extent, right?
He has.
If you look at factions, if you look at kind of temporary partnerships, everyone he's faced, right, is relatively high profile, relatively, you know, aligned with someone, right? And I don't see him really having any kind of allegiances to any extent aside from Lana. And what are they going to do? Try and make it, okay, some kind of Axis powers thing now, right? Or, you know, obviously Russia wasn't one of the Axis powers, but you get what I mean, right? You know, this group of international enemies and all that. I mean, are we going to run the same plot again?
I don't think they're going to continue the U.S. versus Russia type thing, but I think that he would benefit from going with this with somebody else to create a feud, because he is a great heel. I personally think he's a great heel.
I would agree with that. Actually, I'll give you that, yeah.
I think that he can move forward and drive, and it would be a great addition to the tag team division in moving it forward, because I just think the tag team division is lackluster. But, you know, we can do better. And, you know, who it may be, we don't know. You know, we're talking about Bo Dallas and Mr. Bray Wyatt. But
a dream tag team.
Dream tag team
of Bo Dallas and Bray Wyatt, the brothers kind of uniting.
Well, Bo Dallas is actually getting near that beard. Just
finish growing it out, man.
What was that other thing that you mentioned about him defecting earlier? Because I actually like that concept.
Crickets.
No. So I do remember it. So you had him defecting. So now that John Cena beat him, now what?
Becoming all patriotic.
Oh, that was my guess. That was complete sarcasm.
but that's actually that started rolling in my head. That's actually a pretty good idea.
I guarantee you, he will
Russian
never
refugee. Putin wants him dead. Cena, save me! I'm gonna get killed by.
I guarantee you, that's not gonna happen.
But we never know.
Trini, you wanted to say something?
No, I was just gonna touch on what Ilya was saying. I still think Rusev is still gonna be around because he's the only international face that the WWE really has to represent, and you know they can't keep it all about America and this and that.
Well, I mean, you have guys like, you got Sheamus coming back at some point. You have Wade Barrett that's still in the hunt for international title. You have guys from NXT. You have Finn Balor. You have Kevin Owens. You have Hideo Itami. That as soon as they make their breaks up top, you have a variety of it. So it's not like I get what you're trying to say at the moment, but that's that concept you can't really go with because there are guys and girls that are from these other countries.
And why does it have to be anything about nationalism? Why is this whole concept? Yeah, I get it. You want to be patriotic. You want to show America's awesome. And okay, cool. But again, still, the plots need to thicken. They need to get better. They need to expand, grow, touch new areas. Nationalism gets boring after a while.
Oh, I think it's completely dead after that. That's today. It's done and gone. But the transition has to be smooth. And to be honest with you, I think that Wade Barrett and Rusev would be insane. Wade Barrett with that with the elbow, insane. You guys didn't talk about it. We didn't talk about it much, but I noticed it towards the end of the match. He laid like 5
Well, I think it comes in the fact that they all had their spots, right?
Yeah.
Ziggler had to hit a couple of those zigzags off the ladder onto Harper. All these guys had them. Guaranteed Rubes or Barrett, excuse me, is one of those top guys. I was actually rooting for Barrett coming out of that match with the title again. I think if you can somehow get Barrett and Rusev on the team, you got chemistry going there. But I think at the same time it's that concept that how well do these tag teams work when they're kind of just you guys are a tag team, you know. With Cesaro and Kid, I think this is the first time in a long time that we've seen two random guys. They're actually working pretty good, and they've worked together and gotten this stuff together to say, hey, we're one concept, we're one team. Let's go ahead and try to figure this stuff out, how we can become that team. So the question becomes, if they do become a tag team, are they willing to go through that extra work and try to establish them as a legit tag team? I think
organic growth. That's what you need out of it. It needs to either through subplots, through their opponents having some kind of friend of the enemy of my enemy is my friend. That kind of concept. Yeah, I can see these two maybe somewhat different characters coming together and becoming a tag team. But if you're to what Greed said, you're taking, hey, person A, person B, we're gonna throw you in a ring just because we need some more bodies for a match. That doesn't allow for long-term growth of a potential feud. All it is you're just you got a checkbox in your fill out because you're missing a time slot for Raw.
Well, I guess we won't know until probably a month from now. I mean, technically that's what Rusev has because he still has a rematch clause, So they might put that into the next pay-per-view, and they don't know if they might bring Lana back. She technically did get hurt at the end, so we don't know if we'll see her again.
She'll be back. That's just
we demand it.
We demand. We hope so.
we all want it. Don't lie.
How about that hit she took though?
That was a good bump.
Yes.
I think she took that pretty good. Before we get into the next match, that Ronda Rousey, Stephanie McMahon angle.
Yeah, we had it looks like a preview of WrestleMania 32, huh?
Dana White is apparently licking his chops at the opportunity of this. But I thought that was a pretty cool segment. The Rock came out. Who fucking cares? I'm sorry. I know you're obsessed with him. I know you're obsessed with him. Fuck The Rock.
Shut your mouth.
I'm tired of this shit.
Shut your mouth. Shut your mouth. The Rock is the greatest of all time. We realize the millions and millions of fans he has.
There's a couple of guys.
There's a couple of guys, yes.
During a certain match between a guy whose name is 3 letters and the other guy who is the tip of a scorpion's tail, who may want to argue with you about being the greatest of all time.
I think I said too much, but I think he is a great entertainer, and I think
That's great. Stay entertaining. Don't come back to wrestling whenever you fucking feel like it. Go entertain on the big screen. Go entertain on SNL. If you want to fucking lace up a pair of boots, don't call yourself the greatest ever.
He is by far.
He is great.
Whenever he comes back,
he is good.
He brings in what the WWE wants.
Because of what he's done outside. Stay entertaining. I don't want these fucking gimmick matches.
When he was in WWE, he was great. He made great matches.
Not the greatest of all time.
Not the greatest of all time. I'll give you that. He's not greatest.
Don't come here and throw down.
You're right. Okay, cool. Okay, I understand. Not greatest of all time. Greatest in his era when he was wrestling, he was the tip of the spear. He made every single pay-per-view that much better.
I think you might want to mean he's one of the greatest of that era. Of course, there are two other people
of his time.
Turn around.
We have one over there.
Look on the screen.
Triple H.
Who do you see on that screen right there getting his ass kicked?
There's a guy whose name is 3 letters, and then the guy whose name is the end of a scorpion's tail.
There you go.
I understand. I'm not saying that.
That's his era.
They are great. They
that's
are the great.
Are you telling me he's better than those?
No. I'm just saying when he was there,
But they were there in that era as well. Mm-hmm. They weren't in the same company. They were in that era.
Let's agree that there was a lot of great wrestlers in that time.
Of course.
And I think The Rock was a special specimen to bring in more.
He was one.
I would say that Stephanie dropped a little bit of truth in her comments towards The Rock. It sounded like a little bit of inadvertent shade thrown at The Rock, but when she says, look, we kind of made you. If it's not for the McMahons, you wouldn't be here. I mean, technically, if it wasn't for the McMahons, probably wouldn't be at this WrestleMania either, right?
If it wasn't for them, exactly she said, you would still be Rocky Maivia. You would still be Rocky Johnson Jr. You wouldn't be The Rock.
But you could say that with any wrestler.
Exactly, that's the whole point.
Any wrestler.
Just because you can say that about anybody, yeah. But half the time, these guys made themselves as well. You have Hulk Hogan, who, before this whole thing blew up, was already a star. He's the reason WrestleMania happened.
Yeah.
He is probably the one person you can say made the WWE.
Yeah.
After that, I don't. You can't say The Rock is where he is on his own. Hell no.
No, I think that The Rock, for example, you go back.
I'm sorry to steal your thunder. But
Rock,
No, please steal away.
Rock and Hulk Hogan, that match was epic. We analyzed that match through and through. Phenomenal. Great. Probably one of the best matches I ever seen in my life.
I need you to start watching more matches on the WWE Network.
I would like to disagree with that because I think the Rock,
I need you.
the Rock was definitely a filler for that match.
He
We
was.
all know it should have been Hogan and Stone Cold in that
Of course. And that was all during Stone Cold's contractual dispute where he walked away. That should have been Stone Cold versus Hulk Hogan. The Rock slid into that by opportunity. He didn't deserve that match. Now, in terms of the greatest match you've ever seen, that you need to go watch WrestleMania 3. You need to go watch Savage versus Steamboat.
We're yes, those are great matches as well. But I guess in terms of my time,
I need you to get out of your bias and go watch more matches.
Look,
Where can you watch these matches?
On the WWE Network.
How much is
For
that?
only
$9.99.
fucking horrible plugs, I swear.
more enthusiasm.
Look,
please.
okay.
More
The
enthusiasm.
Rock wants to come back, fine, whatever. I don't think you need to spend 25 minutes on just The Rock.
No.
I think it finally picked up when Ronda Rousey got in that ring, and I think that's what made that SmackDown even better. Yeah, it was. Other than that, it was a repeat of that SmackDown episode where it was SmackDown 15th anniversary, because they had that face off already. They've had that before.
Yeah.
I think the only thing that made that SmackDown better was the Ronda Rousey interaction.
I gotta agree.
Yeah, WrestleMania 32, they're already booking it. They're pushing towards that. I don't see that not happening. I would love to see Rousey and Stephanie McMahon go at it though. I think we would all enjoy that. As our friend Chad Dukes has said, everybody in the world has a massive erection at that point. So we'll just leave it at that.
Just like the one time where she was at SummerSlam, she wore that nice hot leather suit.
Let's not go there, Busy. Let's not go there.
Alright.
I'm more interested in how long Stephanie can actually withstand an armbar for.
Not long.
I guarantee it.
Not long.
She
What's
looked
the
like she
over-under
was
on
in
the
some
second?
serious pain.
She might go into retirement.
I'll give you 10 seconds.
She was just
That's
using her
pushing it.
pinky.
Overall, great segment. I think I'm really excited to see where they go with that with Ronda Rousey. I think Dana White's all for kind of doing like an interpromotional type of deal, which would be really cool to see.
Even after they stole Brock?
Even after they stole Brock. The next match, which I was actually I was waiting to see what would happen with this one. Bray Wyatt versus The Undertaker.
Trini had some comments on The Undertaker coming on out, didn't you there, Trini?
Go right ahead, sir.
So now, who here noticed my man's been working out?
Definitely have.
He is looking a bit swole tonight.
I definitely like that factor. I think if you would have took this Undertaker and putting him up against Brock last year, I think Undertaker would have took it hands down, no questions asked, and he would have still been on the streak. But that's just me ranting because I'm still very salty about last year's WrestleMania. Thank you.
Now you know that I love Brock, so I gotta say something about this.
Go ahead, let's hear it.
Take the dick out your mouth.
So let's just say this. You know, I think he needed the ass whooping so that he could find out where he was and come back and be better, like he was this year.
I don't know how. I mean, if you're 21 and 0, I don't know how you get better.
Oh no! It's just he wasn't.
22-0.
Well, I mean, let's just be real. Like the first 20, he was there all the time, you know, there. But the last WrestleMania, he comes in at WrestleMania. He comes in at that time. Just like next year, he'll be there for that.
Oh,
one
the
WrestleMania.
irony of you defending Brock and saying that it only shows up for certain pay-per-views.
Whoa. Let's be real. Let's be real.
He does only show up for certain pay-per-views.
Let me realize that. Let's be real. Brock is a person that doesn't care about the business. He cares about getting paid. Okay, that's what he is.
I mean, your point was he was there for the first 20. He wasn't really that much, there very much after that. Then you go ahead and try and defend Brock.
Well,
Don't let your bias blind you, dog.
No. I'm just saying. I'm not going out about at Undertaker because of that. I'm just saying his conditioning wasn't good enough to where he needed to be. Because you could tell in the match with Brock, his conditioning wasn't there.
Well, you're also looking at two completely different styles of wrestling when it comes to Brock Lesnar and Bray Wyatt. Brock Lesnar's all about, I'm going to throw you halfway across, the ring just because I want to. Whereas Bray Wyatt will sit there and actually have a wrestling match with you. And I think that the fact that the Brock Lesnar match was way too physical for The Undertaker.
Yeah.
That's the only thing. I think if last year was Bray Wyatt, Undertaker's 22-0 guaranteed.
Yeah.
I think coming into this one here, it was he didn't want to walk out of that stadium on a cart. He didn't want to be, take an ambulance home again. That's the only reason we saw the change that we saw in Brock and Undertaker this year. He looks great. He looks fit. I think he's going to be ready for next WrestleMania. I wouldn't be surprised if he has a match somewhere in between them, just to kind of test out how he feels and how he is. But I think it was definitely a big change in seeing the Undertaker this year, which is a good thing.
Totally digging the American Badass look he came out with too.
You just missed the last ride. That's all.
I know. I'm so salty. I did not get.
I wanted that.
A lot of people on Twitter were asking for the last ride and asking for the American Badass with the bike and all. But yeah, it was a good match, entertaining match. I think we saw, the changing of the guard, as everybody's like to say, the new face of fear in Bray Wyatt. I think that their little moment where Bray's walking, doing a spider walk, and Undertaker just sits up was a great photo opportunity.
That was super cool.
Great look to both of them.
Doesn't that kind of underline that whole concept, though? The new face of fear, where the old face of fear strikes fear into the new face of fear?
I don't think it was fear that was struck, though. I think it was just...
The man came out of his spider walk.
It's more of a shock kind of deal. Like, I don't think he was expecting the Undertaker to come up that quickly and how he did. I think that it's there's a new phenom in the WWE, and it's not the Undertaker anymore.
I mean, I think we've all known that even before this match, though. I mean, is this truly the passing of the baton, or do you think there are still going to be some
I
more?
think this is the official, quote-unquote, official passing of the guard, where we finally see the match, and that's probably the only reason why it would be an official passing of the changing of the guard.
Even though he lost.
Even though he lost, yes. I think, look at into this. He built this entire match with the Undertaker not even taking one step onto Raw. He built this entire program leading up to WrestleMania, just expecting the Undertaker to show up and kind of go from there. So I think it kind of shows to Bray Wyatt's kind of advantage or kind of like his I don't know what the right word to say is. It shows to his character and his abilities to put on a show, put on a match, and really carry the match on his own.
I don't disagree that he's a good entertainer. I still don't see how. Okay, you create these excellent promos to get the Undertaker's attention. Just that recognition, I think, speaks volumes as to what the Undertaker thinks about Bray. But to go through all of that and then lose, I still don't understand how that's the passing of the baton.
Well, it's because you have to also say that and consider that it doesn't always have to be a win to pass on or win to get over. Anybody can get over and still lose the match.
But his match wasn't. I mean, honestly, I didn't see anything that kind of stuck out as something impressive. I mean, quite honestly, I wasn't too impressed by Bray. I saw a lot of moments of, oh, I'm shocked by this guy, or oh, this guy caught me off guard. It still seemed like a step in. It's a step in the right direction. Yes, I think just the fact that he got a match at WrestleMania against the Undertaker, it's acknowledgement of who he is. It's acknowledgement of what he can be. But I still think that it's more of a learning lesson and learning. Look, young buck, you're still not ready because I can still beat you. I can still teach you a few things. I can still catch you off guard. Versus, I'm someone who's ready to be this new face. Like it still feels kind of a transitionary. It still feels transitionary to me.
I think that was like a life lesson for him. He needed to go through this match in order to see where he stands as who's the better, darker person, I should say.
New face of fear.
Yes. Now Undertaker, you can't take that away from him. He's been there since day one. He's the face of darkness. What's the word I'm looking for? It's what we expect. You always get that surprise that
he's your benchmark. He's if you wanted to find, that's why we were making this, just having the comparison to the Undertaker, right? To your point, essentially we use them as the benchmark. So if we want to consider Bray to be the new face of fear, we're obviously going to compare it to the Undertaker. What he does to the crowd, does to the opponents, does in terms of throwing on a show, what have you. No, I agree with you with that.
I think it's where Bray goes from here. What's gonna set the tone?
But I mean, he's cutting the promos. Like don't get me wrong, I love his promos. He's doing a good job with his promos.
Mm-hmm.
But I don't see him doing anything further than that. Don't get me wrong, I respect him as an entertainer and everything.
It's just the question. Where do you go from here?
Yeah.
It's hard to answer that, not knowing, because I mean right now the way you look at it, everything's stacked, right?
Mm-hmm.
You have your guys going for the U.S. title. You have your guys going for the IC title. Or do you keep Bray Wyatt as a mid card kind of guy and kind of just have him float around there? It's the same question we have with Ambrose. Do we keep Ambrose in that mid card level? Do we give him that push? Where do we push him? How far do we push him? I think it's all a matter of waiting it out. Unfortunately, at this point, we're just waiting to see what happens. I think Bray Wyatt eventually will become, one of those kind of. It's hard to see. It's hard to say if he's going to become a top guy right away. I think in terms of the top title. But I wouldn't be surprised to see him, pushing for one of those mid card titles anytime soon. Possibly even like U.S. title, getting into another feud with John Cena again. For that title, just to see where he goes from there.
Do you see him doing a push like what Daniel Bryan did, going for the WWE title and then backing down to a lower title?
No, the queue's too long of people who are, I would say, not more deserving, because I'd hate to rank people in terms of how much they deserve something. But if you think about it, right, we got Rollins. I'm hoping for at least six months to a year of Rollins being, in that discussion, right? You have Brock. Obviously, he's gonna want some kind of, rematch. He'll be in the picture, and then we have everyone's kind of neglected child being, Roman Reigns, where everybody loved him at first, and then his nose grew a little too big for his face, and then we kind of we don't like him as much. It's just they kind of started pushing away from him. He's gonna have to come back, right? So how do you put? You can't. 3 people, I think, is enough to be fiddling around with that top belt. Like Greed said, we're talking about a couple of those other belts, the IC in the U.S. that already have enough people really kind of floating around. So, do you keep him as maybe a roadblock or an obstacle for people to kind of get to those belts as well?
Go through Bray Wyatt in order to kind of get
there. Kind of, he's kind of your.
But I mean, I think in order for you to do that, you have to actually say, hey, he's kind of been there before. You can't just say he's a roadblock. If you get past him, you can go on to the title, because he's never been there. It's kind of like saying, how can you say he's one of those things to get there? I think that you pick up a win against Bray Wyatt. Okay, cool. That doesn't mean, hey, I'm at the top of the line again. I think it's a big win. It's a big time win in terms of that. But I think in terms of this is the guy you have to get through to get to a title shot, I don't think that's the right comparison to say.
Well, I would argue that a slightly different way, or I would refute that a slightly different way, in the sense that there's only 3 belts, right? There's only 3 people out of how large is the pool of participants? I mean, we're talking at least
the entire roster.
Oh, well, how big's the roster? Just give me a round
150,
right? So 3 out of 150 people. Let's say 100 just to make it a nice round number, right? 3% of the people are going to be holding belts, right? Just so you're telling me that only 3% of people can actually tell you at a certain point in time that, okay, you've beat me, or this is the only way to prove yourself. No, I would look at it as take someone who's really, really hot, and then Bray's the one who can stop him and humble and bring him down, and essentially crush him to some extent. If he can continue to create a routine, being a mid-card person, consistently destroying people's paths, he can be a roadblock. He can consistently tell people, look, you can't get to that because you can't beat me. The people, that 3%, they got through me. Take someone like, this is probably a really bad example, but say Randy Orton's finally getting back up to that position, right? And Bray's the one who stops him, brings him back down, levels him. Take someone who's big and kind of, instead of using a belt to push him up or to bump him up, use other people's, his wins over big names or his wins over other people as a way of bringing him up without actually giving him a belt. Just something different. Mix it up.
You're saying like him being like a guy that interrupts matches and causes someone to lose something that they really wanted, and to be like that kind of guy that, you're not gonna get this unless you fight me.
Just to some extent. I mean, he doesn't necessarily have to interrupt matches, but if it means, I don't know. Say for example,
I feel like the Shield were like those kind of guys when they walked in. They were the badasses. They came in and interrupted. Whenever they wanted, that was them. And then they just took over. So
I mean, if you want to make that comparison, yeah, I think that might be a good point. Because then look at two of the three guys who we're talking about in terms of getting the World Heavyweight Championship. One of them actually holds it right now.
Yeah, I mean, all three of them are in contention.
That brings us to the main event. And Elio's already shaking his head.
Brock Lesnar, by far, still champion in my eyes. Still hasn't been beaten.
Booked perfectly because I called it.
I told you he was going to get injured. I told you he was probably going to lose the match. But the fact of it being, I just hate the fact that he wasn't pinned. That's what I hate.
No, tonight was all about the future is now. The future is now.
It's an insane. It was an insane match. Let's be real.
Phenomenal match.
That was probably, I think a lot of people were saying, the best main event back to back in terms of WrestleManias. Go ahead.
Let's say this, that Roman Reigns got John Cena from last year. I think that Roman Reigns had no attack at all.
From SummerSlam, yeah.
From at all.
It was as we were saying. It was one of those. Roman Reigns is going to get maybe 3 shots in, and then that's all he was going to have. And I think we saw that when he started when Brock Lesnar got busted open on the post. We started seeing Roman Reigns kind of start getting that momentum going, and then just out of nowhere, that music hit.
But I love the fact that when Roman was taking his beat down, that he was asking for more, especially with the fact when he was getting slapped.
I think it goes to what Paul Heyman was saying, that that's a Samoan badass. He's calling the Samoan badass. That Roman Reigns would sit there and take that punishment and keep taking it, and ask for more. And I think that goes to building Roman Reigns, and let's be real, and this is playing off of all the stuff online, but they made Roman Reigns look very strong tonight. To take that ass whooping that he was taking 95% of that match, and still be in it at the end.
I'm gonna tell you this: he took that ass whooping better than Cena did.
He did.
I'll take Greed's concept, take it a step further, right? So we're talking about, again, the concept of these 3 guys who we're talking about in terms of the World Heavyweight Championship. You have Brock, who we keep hearing about, Beast Incarnate. This guy is an absolute monster. He'll obliterate you. He'll destroy you. Still prove that, even though he lost the championship tonight, still was obliterating Roman Reigns, was showing his strength, showing how, look, this guy is just a wrecking, just a power that you just can't stop, right? As much as you make him bleed, bust his head open, bust his eye, cheek, whatever, he's still gonna pummel you to the ground. You have Seth Rollins, the guy who we've been talking about is the future, who we all agree is ready for the big time, ready to be the face.
Well, I don't think we all agree on it.
No, we all agree on it. Some people just lie to themselves and tell themselves that he's not ready. He's the guy. He's the guy. And then you take Roman Reigns, the guy who, unfortunately, I honestly think he got put in a very bad position. Got put into a position where very prematurely, right? He wasn't ready, and whether it be mic skills, whether it be presentation of himself, whether it be cutting promos, whatever it is, he would have been too early to be the face and have all that pressure on him, right? So what does this do? You have Seth Rollins, a guy who's already ready, take up 6 months minimum guaranteed in terms of time. That gives Roman Reigns 6 months at least to work on his mic skills, work on polish up exactly. So by the time he's ready to come back into contention for that, he'll be ready and he might be able to take that opportunity to become face.
I think that the WWE was a win just as long as Roman Reigns didn't win that title.
Yep, it undid all of McMahon's mess.
I think if Reigns wins that title, even if Rollins cashed in right after Reigns wins it, it's still, and I thought this early in the weekend, it's still too early for Roman Reigns to pick up that win. Yeah, he doesn't walk out of WrestleMania the champion, but you know what? He was still world heavyweight champion at WrestleMania. That never goes away, and I think that would have killed any and all momentum that this WrestleMania had all the entire night. We saw match after match, and it kept getting elevated, and we saw great matches the entire night. And to see and have Roman Reigns end the show, not even end the show, just pick up that win, it undoes everything that you did in terms of the fan and in terms of feedback from the fans for this year. But instead, you have Seth Rollins be the first person to cash in at a WrestleMania, to cash in during a match. Literally just jumped into it and it turned it into a triple threat. Was probably one of the best ways to end WrestleMania tonight. And even when that happened, I started thinking, well, maybe Brock can still pull this off. And either way, as long as Roman Reigns wasn't winning it, I think I would have been happy. Which is kind of fucked up to say because I feel like Roman Reigns is still a good wrestler, but I don't think his time is yet. Is not his time yet.
There's actually nobody that me personally, Elio, you're gonna love me for this comment, but honestly, the way Brock has been performing, there's nobody out there that compared to his level. So how are you gonna take the belt away from him if it wasn't for Seth Rollins?
I think it's and I was saying this earlier as well. I think that with having Rollins cash in, I think the aspect of how people view Brock Lesnar now has changed. You go into WrestleMania, you say, oh, Brock Lesnar's classified as a heel. This is your bad guy. Seth Rollins, the second he came down that ramp, became the new heel. And I think that most people will now start to see Brock Lesnar as, well, he's the victim of all this. Now you're going to start shining some positive light on Brock Lesnar moving forward. I think Brock Lesnar will win that title back. It's a matter of when. I became a fan of Brock Lesnar in his last 3 months, especially at Royal Rumble in that triple threat match. That is where I ultimately became a Brock Lesnar fan. I think that moving forward, it's a matter of when is he going to come back to get that title back. I wouldn't be surprised if next pay-per-view he wins it back again. Now, I don't think they'll go that quickly. I think that Rollins is going to find a way to sneak his way out of these and keep the title for as long as possible. But we have to wait and see what happens there.
I think they're pushing. It's a great way for him not to lose the title himself, but whoever is to eclipse Brock when they pin him and he actually loses is going to be the real new person to take over that title. It's going to be that new, I'm here, I'm the badass, I beat the best there is in this business right now.
I think that's also why you have Rollins cash in and pin Reigns over Brock Lesnar.
Yeah, because clearly Brock's going to be here for the next 3 years. That's already going to be said and done. So it's a matter of how you're going to push him, and I completely agree with you. He's going to get the title back. He will. It's a matter of when. It's a matter of how. You know, whether he takes a hiatus for the next 6 months, who knows? It's not untypical of him, but it's I think Rollins is going to do a great job at holding it down and sneaking his way through. Well, he always does. As a snake he is.
Well, no, I think that brings an interesting, I guess, maybe discussion, right? Because we keep talking about how whoever pins Brock is going to be, you know, I don't know what you guys phrase it as, but it makes it sound essentially like this is the new guy, right? Why does brute strength have to be necessarily the pinnacle of being the best, right? Because if you look at Rollins, his what do you call it, conniving, him being a snake, I call it someone who knows what battles to take. He's been strategic. He knows when to leave. He knows when to stay. He knows when to cash in. The concept of using his look, he's not physically as strong as Brock. He found the opportunity. He seized it. He won. Why can't that necessarily be equivalent to someone who can, do a German suplex 16 times?
They don't call him the architect for no reason.
Yeah.
I think it's easy to say Rollins is the best right now. I don't think that. I think in terms of what Hincha's saying is that in terms of being the number one in terms of the strength, in terms of the power, in terms of the dominating force in a match. Don't get me wrong, that's all great for Brock Lesnar. I still see Seth Rollins as the better person, that's the best person in WWE right now, which is why he has the title.
Yeah, I mean, I think I'm not mad that Rollins has the title. I'm not. I'm salty. I'm salty at the way how it was done, and I'm salty that Brock is not the champion. But I know for a fact it's not good for business for one person to hold on to a title for over a year.
False. CM Punk. Thank you very much.
Who?
CM Punk.
We're not allowed to talk about him.
I will throw down CM Punk every second I can. CM Punk is the counter to your little comments there.
I need you to
I'm looking through the roster. Who's this guy?
I'm gonna need you to take this his thing out your mouth.
Look who's talking. You're taking both The Rock and Brock Lesnar. Get the hell out of here.
But we're talking about Brock.
So Mr. Seth Rollins does not walk out of WrestleMania. Do you have anything to say?
Yeah, I can't wait till Raw tomorrow and see what goes down with that.
I can't wait for that.
Remember what happened with the wink? What happened with the wink? What was that? Did that throw us off? Was that a swerve? Did they swerve us? Damn you, Paul Heyman.
That was a good swerve. You guys are looking at us like, what the hell are we talking about? At Raw, during the final promo of Paul Heyman, the second he tells that Roman Reigns cannot win, he shoots him that nice little wink at the camera. Kind of making you wonder, and I was the first one to bite. I was like, oh my God, what does that mean? I think tomorrow we find out what that wink means. Raw is shaping up to be pretty good tomorrow. We have a lot of fallout from tonight. Curious, like I said, we have what happens to Rusev and Lana. Where do they go from here? What happens to Brock Lesnar? What happens to Seth Rollins moving forward? Hell, what happens to Roman Reigns? Does he get a title shot again? Does he go put to the back of the line?
Does he deserve it?
Does he deserve it? Does he get booed some more? I feel like come tomorrow, if he's not in that rematch for the world title, I think he's back to being a face. A lot of stuff to take out of tonight. Final thoughts, comments?
Great WrestleMania overall.
Yes.
It was phenomenal in all cylinders.
I don't know if you guys noticed, this is the one WrestleMania in quite a while where we did not have an actor, random person off the freaking entertainment come in to wrestle.
We did have those two musicians that I didn't care for.
Which nobody, because it was a bathroom break for everybody. We all knew it. Going into it was a smoke break, bathroom break. I love seeing Michelle Beadle on the front row right behind the announcers. Sorry, I'm just looking at the screen right now. I think one of the best WrestleManias I've seen in quite a long time.
If you would rate it, what would you rate it?
In terms of 1 to 10, or in terms of like the best all time?
5 stars. You can use half stars.
5 stars. I'd give this WrestleMania 5 stars.
Yeah, it was a 5-star show.
I think that the only match you kind of really go into questioning in terms of for me was the only match I was disappointed in was the Divas match. I think every other match than that kind of had its great flair, and it's had a good build, good spots. Everything was just working on everything.
I don't know if they got the time cut or anything like that.
You would have to. With the segment with The Rock, it's hard to say, because that one felt like it was drawn out a lot. But I feel like that was the one that kind of threw me down for that one. But yeah, 5 stars. I think every
4.9
for me. 4.9.
Only because the Bray and Undertaker match should have been in night. That is it. And I know it's something you can't control.
The issue was that you can't really enjoy
and embody who these people are.
The entrances of the Undertaker and Bray Wyatt in the daytime.
It looks weird. Who needs a lantern at 3 o'clock in the afternoon in San Francisco?
It was 6:30. It was 6:30.
It was 6 o'clock when we were watching it. No, probably not. But still, nonetheless, I I don't know. That's the only thing. But everything else is great. I had a good
Comments
time.
all around, guys.
I'm going on 4 stars.
Really?
It's just
Why?
just a Divas match. Just a Diva match. I feel like they
So
didn't
that
get enough
knocks it
time.
down a whole stars. 1 whole star.
I don't think the Divas match was that bad though.
Yeah, it wasn't a bad match, but I just feel like they couldn't tell their story. It was like 10 minutes, maybe. I
But
mean,
Did
what
you
is
not?
the
Did you
Divas
not
story
notice about Paige holding it down for like all of the match while AJ Lee was getting just thrown off the turnbuckle over and over and over and over again by the Bellas? Like,
Okay, it was 3 times. It wasn't over and over and over and over again. It was
okay,
3
it
times.
seemed like forever though. It seemed like Paige had no tag team person next to her. So I mean, I personally enjoyed it.
I think it's. I understand where he's coming from because I would have loved to see more from them.
Yeah.
But it's not going to knock me down from 5 stars. I'm sorry.
Yeah, I mean, it's cookie cutter as it was. I'd rather have an average Divas match than one where they completely botched it. And I think they did what they needed to do. They killed, 15 minutes like they needed to?
10 to 15.
Yeah.
definitely one of the best WrestleManias we've seen in quite a while.
But let's go back to that Divas thing. It's that for that one reason, they need to do something with the Divas match where it's not just a filler.
We agree. We definitely agree. I think it has to. You have to put more meaning behind the Divas matches.
Well, I think that'll happen in the future once the NXT Divas come up. So in due time, the matches will be more meaningful. But
we can't wait for NXT to just rise up.
Well, I mean, we can't make it out of nothing though. That's the thing. Like, let's be honest. We have 6 divas that really can put on a show, 4 of which were in that match, plus Natty, plus Naomi.
Now let me ask you this: the Bellas contractually agreed to what, 1 more year?
You guys watched the Divas. How did that end?
I actually didn't see the ending.
Actually, I saw that.
Okay, so how does? Because weren't they talking about retirement?
They were talking about retirement.
Okay.
The show ended on a cliff note, on a cliffhanger, where they did.
I'll tell you this: the second that she drops.
I know they signed though. I know they signed.
I think the second she drops the title, I think it's the beginning of the end for the Bellas.
Yep. No, I think it's the beginning of the end for the Bellas, but I think Nikki is going her own route, and Brie's going to come into her own because you can tell by the merchandising that they're doing, is that Fearless brand is branded by Nikki, not by Brie, and Brie is going to her own, and I think they're trying to work a way to have Nikki on a high note, and her last hurrah, and I apologize. Brie's going to go on her own and be a mom. And Nikki's going to drive the business.
That's kind of obvious.
I think the real question is what's going to happen first, retirement or John Cena proposing?
Retirement.
Let's just be real. John Cena is not proposing anytime
real
soon.
Quick, just we're running. We've been here for an hour and a half now. So I know our listeners are probably getting tired of us. Even though we're probably half our listeners. But anyways.
It's a 4-hour show.
It's a 4-hour show.
5.5. Correction.
What are you guys looking forward to tomorrow night?
Brock Lesnar.
You look forward to that every night.
I actually am interested to see what Bray Wyatt has to say now. I'm very curious because he did put on a good match, but it wasn't good enough, as you can see.
I want to be left speechless tomorrow.
I want to see what NXT come ups, if any at all, come up. I'm just definitely interested to see what they come up with.
One key fact I gotta throw out to you guys. At Raw, there's almost always one title change.
I was just about to bring that up,
Yep.
actually.
In the past 4 or 5 years, and even going back farther than that, we've seen at least one title change the day after WrestleMania. Who do you think that would be?
I probably want to say the 2 titles that didn't change, either the tag team or the Divas. Those were the only 2 titles that did not change in pay-per-view. Every other title changed.
I think tag team.
I would agree with that only because having Cena and having Daniel Bryan holding those belts bring them to a level of where they're no longer a joke.
Right.
We need someone with that kind of pedigree, if you
the
will.
legitimacy
to really hold those belts for a bit, pump them up a bit, and then have some other contender beat them.
I think that being said, I wouldn't be surprised if either of those titles get put on the line tomorrow night, with them still retaining. I just feel like in order to do that, you have to kind of start taking the concept that these titles will need to always be put on a pay-per-view. we put these on the line at Raw and SmackDown. That's building up, saying this champion doesn't care where he is. He's gonna defend this title because that title means a lot to him.
Mm-hmm.
So I feel like I wouldn't agree. I think tomorrow is all about the Divas title changing hands again. Whether it's with a new call up, whether it's either Paige or AJ kind of taking that back from the Bellas. I would or Fatal 4-Way. I would see that being the first thing to kind of change hands tomorrow. But again, I'm excited for any call ups that happen. Seeing what's coming up new in terms of the roster and who gets called up, who's still kind of waiting in the balance there.
So who's gonna get it for Divas?
If it was the Divas, I'd probably give it to Paige.
Yeah.
Really?
I mean, it's symbolism. I mean, it's not symbolism, but it's 1 year since she's been called up. Why not give it the 1 year anniversary? I mean, you also have AJ, who can take over as the most title reigns by a diva, or for the Divas title of all time.
I really think
at WrestleMania.
I really think that AJ was the one to really lift that title up when it was at its peak.
I agree. I think the matches that she was having and then the promo she was cutting at that time was just nobody could touch her, and it's something that they've been referencing to a lot these last 2 weeks with the promos that they're cutting about AJ's promos just being all about her or whatever, and how I think that AJ would probably be the best person to take that title right now. Don't get me wrong, Nikki Bella is doing an amazing job holding that title down, but I think AJ is somebody that can take that title to the next level.
Yeah, I think they're trying to elevate a lot of the titles to where they need to be. You know, but I think they'll get there sooner or later.
How about the bruising from the old folks?
Yeah, Triple H and Sting were showing some mad bruising tonight, but it's all what you got to do for WrestleMania, guys. WrestleMania is a show where you leave it all on the line, and you hurt yourself like that. That's what you got to do.
Dean Ambrose is really hurt.
Yeah, we can't wait to hear what's going on with Dean Ambrose. Hopefully, hear an update by the end of before we go to sleep tonight, or definitely sometime tomorrow.
Anybody think Babyface is gonna need stitches tonight?
I think he will. I think he definitely will.
Guaranteed.
And he's not Babyface.
Babyface is an interesting way to refer to him.
I think you're insulting the.
No, I get it.
Give him the respect he deserves.
I'm not gonna get into a conversation about whether or not Brock Lesnar should be referred to as Babyface.
I'm only saying it because every time he got touched in his face tonight, he was leaking from his eyelid, under his eye, his lip.
But you can say the same about him just getting upset and throwing a tantrum and turning red.
I mean, he did whoop Roman Reigns' ass.
Okay, we'll leave it on this. I think this has been the best pay-per-view we have all seen, the best WrestleMania we have all
Hands
seen.
down.
Only bigger and better things moving forward. I mean, let's be real, guys. The future has started. The future is now, and it's a matter of where this future will take us. And then we're all excited to see where this goes on. That's it for us for tonight, guys. Thank you guys for listening. Keep sharing us. Keep checking us out. Keep telling your friends about us. The more people that hear us, the better we are. We're doing this for you guys. Any questions? You have our email. It's from the Rafters Podcast @gmail.com. We're on Twitter @Rafters Podcast, Facebook.com/Rafters Podcast. I'm on Twitter @Greedy1989.
I got DMV Soul, and on Snapchat I'm CMoney87.
Yeah, how about those? Has anybody sent Snapchats yet? How about we can? Any comment about Snapchat?
Oh, I got plenty of Snapchats going on right now. I think you'll enjoy many of them that I have. I don't exactly know which ones you're gonna enjoy.
Just for Kurt, just
You're gonna miss.
Do you want to plug
just keep sending Kurt some naked dongs. He'll enjoy that. Any of you guys want to share your Twitters or anything?
Yeah,
like that?
you can find me at Rafters_Yumi. That's spelled YUMI.
Sweet. Well, guys, thank you again for listening. I know it's a long show. It's been really, this weekend has been a great weekend. It's the favorite time of the year. On to bigger and better things. On to the future. We will see you guys next time. Thank you guys for listening us out. This is Kevin.
This is Curtis.
Yumi.
Pincha.
Beats. By the way, Ms. That Rocks.
Trinity.
Thank you guys. Again, any feedback, just let us know, guys. Enjoy. We'll see you guys next time.